Imagine turning on the TV and watching static for half an hour. "10 years ago, a creepypasta by the name of Candle Cove was created. The main premise of the creepypasta was that multiple users on a forum by the name of Net Nostalgia would begin to talk about a TV show that they remembered that never actually existed. Most evidence leads us to believe that the creepypasta is just not real entirely. However, there are some things that may point to it being a true event. Back in 2015, a YouTuber by the name of Scare Theatre made a video on the TV show, and he came to the conclusion that it was all fake. However, there are some things that he didn't do in the video to prove that the TV show was fake. Now, these things can be done by me to prove it's real, and I will do that right now. Here's when things get interesting. The things that Scare Theatre didn't do in his video on Candle Cove? Well, one of them was looking Net Nostalgia, the website involved in the creepypasta, up on Google Trends, which, if you don't know, is a tool by Google that allows you to search for a certain keyword or phrase and see how many times that keyword or phrase has been searched for in a certain time period. Now, I look Net Nostalgia forum, Net Nostalgia up on Google Trends, and there, sure enough, there wasn't enough data for a demographic to exist. So that happened. And the second thing that Scare Theatre didn't do in the video was have a look for http www.netnostalgia.com on the Wayback Machine. At first, I thought there would be no point in me making this video because I just thought there'd be nothing on the Wayback Machine. However, there are absolutely multiple screenshots of the domain Net Nostalgia on the Wayback Machine, dating back to February 2011. Unfortunately, as you can see, the website is nothing more than GoDaddy advertising the domain. All I can assume is that GoDaddy bought the domain of netnostalgia.com and then just put it up for sale for someone to buy. Don't worry though, we've still got 25 more screenshots of this domain to get through. But before we do that, let me tell you a little bit more about Candle Cove. The story begins with a user getting the ball rolling by saying, "Does anyone remember this kids show? It was called Candle Cove and I must have been 6 or 7. I never found reference to it anywhere, so I think it was on a local station around 1971 or 72. I lived in Ironton at the time. I don't remember which station, but I do remember it was on at a weird time, like 4 PM. A user with the name MikePainter65 replied with, "It seems really familiar to me. I grew up outside of Ashland and was 9 years old in 72. Candle Cove. Was it about pirates? I remember a pirate marionette at the mouth of a cave talking to a little girl." Apologies for the pronunciation. A third user jumps in and says, "Sorry to resurrect this old thread, but I know exactly what show you mean. I think Candle Cove ran for only a couple of months in 71, not 72. I was 12 and I watched it a few times with my brother. It was channel 58, whatever station that was. My mom would let me switch to it after the news. Let me see what I remember." Now, remember channel 58. That's going to come into play later in the video. As the very obviously fake conversation goes on, YouTubers seem to remember that the show wasn't as happy and jolly as they remembered. One user deemed the show nightmare fuel, and the conversation just makes the show out to be more negative from there. Going back to the Wayback Machine's domain captures, the second capture basically leads you to a dead end. I tried like altering the URL by taking bits off the end and just making it http netnostalgia.com/nothing. That basically sent the Wayback Machine into a bit of a breakdown. And it's just saying the Wayback Machine has not archived that URL, which is a bit bizarre because it's the same URL as the one that GoDaddy owned. By this point, multiple of the domain captures basically broke the Wayback Machine again, and I think it's best if I leave it there because we have now fast forwarded to the day that I'm uploading this, which should hopefully be Saturday the 14th of December. It's nearly Christmas, yay yay! And I've looked back at what I filmed, and it is a load of rubbish. So instead, we're going to be taking a look at what I said about Channel 58, and that it links to something else that the creepypasta creator made. A YouTube channel by the name of Local 58. Before we talk about that though, I just wanted to say what I filmed on the actual day that I'd filmed this episode of Scary Stuff. I talked about the other domains on the Wayback Machine, and it was just JavaScript, and then I went banging on about the creator of like JavaScript, and I just completely lost the plot and thought that it was all some big ARG or conspiracy theory. I just completely got carried away. So I thought, I don't think it would make the video any better if I included it. And I think, to be honest, it would completely ruin the episode if it isn't already ruined. So I'm now going to talk about Chris Straub, the creator of this creepypasta and Local 58. Chris Straub created Candle Cove in 2009. Local 58 was created in 2017, and there is clearly a link between the two because there is no way that 58 is a coincidence. Go and check out Local 58. It is an amazing project. The production value is just, it is at the top of like what you can achieve. So go and check that out. In fact, I'll leave that as a link in the description if I remember. And it's clearly in the same sort of universe, and I'd love to see more work. But guys, I'm afraid that is it. But before I leave you to go and watch some other actual good videos, I will tell you the end of the creepypasta, and it basically ends with the original person asking the forum users, visiting his mum, and his mum telling him that son, you'd say we're gonna go and watch Candle Cove, and you'd sit and watch static in front of a TV for half an hour. And as Scare Theatre pointed out, it's actually a condition that doesn't exist. So it's fictional. I don't know what was on Net Nostalgia. I think that's actually really bizarre. Guys, I'm hoping to have a Christmas episode out, so fingers crossed. It's just so hard to find scary things these days. Because obviously with the whole copper situation, I am being forced to make dark things for adults because scary stuff isn't for kids anyway. And because of the copper and the FTC situation and their sort of grip, if you like, over YouTube, I have to go darker. And I really have to emphasise that scary stuff isn't for kids by making content surrounding darker theories and topics. But guys, thank you ever so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I know this episode wasn't as good as usual because it was filmed in a weird way, and I will not be doing that in the next episode, which, like I say, will hopefully be around Christmas time. But guys, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye bye.